When last we left our fearless explorers, we had made peaceful contact with the Besemovians. Besemovians?
Yeah,
I
don't know.
The Bessies. Okay, they're the Bessies now.
The Betsies.
The Bessies. Let's just call it Bet. If we call them Betsies, that'll be confusing. There's a Betsy in the household.
Yes.
So anyway, we made contact with the Bessies, which is a perfectly reasonable name for an alien species. I have no problem with that. No, it's not. It's not an unreasonable name. They're the Bessies. I mean, when you listen to the sound of Vulcan, that's weird, isn't it?
That's true. It's just because you're shortening it, it makes it sound like a slur of some kind. But I guess whatever.
Freaking Bessies.
And it's also who knows what they call themselves because it's just
true.
named after the star.
True.
You're on Basemu II because the star is called Basemu. So
hello,
that's what
Besemovians.
Humans have called them.
And the difference between a slur and a nickname is all context anyway.
Yeah. It's like, good news, we've discovered you. Your name is now Basemu.
Although, I mean, that does happen even with other languages, right? We call Germany, but they don't call it that.
Yeah,
so
Deutschland.
I mean, the word Germany is older than the German language.
Yeah.
And also they're wrong.
They lost, we can call them what we want. Anyway. So this was a bit of a tangent, and I don't envy whoever it is.
Bessies. I don't have a better. I didn't even come up with a name for them except for I called them the Basemu aliens in my notes. So
So anyway, getting back on topic. So we had the Ewok dinner, and then was it during the night? It was getting into the evening.
Yeah, it was evening. It was dark. They were having the feast, and suddenly
these riders appear and attack the village. Ooh.
Yeah, and they're riding on big beasts that are kind of lizard-like.
Yeah, these weird frog lizard things.
And but they're also Besemovians.
Bessies.
But they have better armor, and they're wielding
high-tech exploding arrow bows.
But when they shoot them, the bow glows and it blows up a wretched hovel. So it's like advanced technology in the form of a bow.
Yeah. And so Pill is a little bit freaked out here because he's like, oh crap, we've stumbled across a hider civilization. And now, they're going to find out that we know that they're hiders, and that's bad. And no one else has any idea what Phil's talking about. Whatever. Doesn't matter. We're under attack. That's the most important thing to deal with right now. And that's where the session ended last time. And where it starts this time is with, the combat.
But the first thing I did, and I think we probably should tell this tale anyway, is I said this suddenly being in combat takes you back to your original combat training back at the academy, and tricks of memory. It's almost as if the people you're with now were there with you on that day when you were training with other random mooks. And I did instead of doing it on this, I did a practice combat with super easy enemies and a more controlled environment.
And it is quite the trick of memory because this Lieutenant Pill was not actually there at all. But whatever, it's a practice combat. So we had this training arena that had all these robot laser turrets and roller mines, were they? Roller mines? And laser bots that were actually Gort from The Day the Earth Stood Still. And I was immediately like, wow, you're training us against multiple Gorts. That's not fair at all.
I haven't even seen it, so I just searched for laser robot, and that was a picture, and I put it on the card.
Gort was capable of taking on the entire military of Earth in that. Yeah, it was. Anyway,
maybe they built them to like that to instill fear, but really it's just a crappy laser robot.
So
this does take place in the same world, so they do know of the movie, The Day the Earth Stood Still.
So we had sort of picked out weapons for our characters, but we didn't really know anything about the mechanics or anything, so we just kind of picked random weapons for our characters to see what would work. And it turns out they fit our personalities quite well.
Perhaps they defined your personalities.
They could well define our personalities. So Pill has a pulse shotgun, which basically blows up everything in the adjacent zone.
Yeah.
And he has a bandolier of plasma grenades, and he hasn't even got to the plasma grenades yet. He's just been having great effect with the shotguns. Kablam, kablam. But the most memorable was Lieutenant Dr. Yoon, who had a rocket launcher.
she chose it as her primary
Well, so
weapon.
she started out with this rocket launcher, and so she's the doctor. She's got this, and that's her default weapon. And she fired this thing off once, and it did great. And she was like, "I love this thing. I'm gonna use this all the time." So she's the rocket doctor now.
This player.
That's Shannon.
Yeah. I mean, it was particularly the case during the training because the main downside to the rocket launcher is it has limited ammo, unlike everything else. It just uses your energy, and so you have 3 shots with it for the entire mission, right? So it does like by far the most damage of anything, but you get 3 shots for the entire mission.
Yeah.
But she was in training, so this combat was the entire mission. So
And you can carry 2 weapons, so she could have 6 shots if she wanted.
My backup.
This rocket launcher's empty. Take out the next
One in each hand.
Yep. So anyway.
yes, that was the most memorable from the training.
This is like a tiny Korean lady.
Yeah.
I mean, Flint the training mission was you got to capture the flag. Flint Daniels captured the flag.
Yeah.
They defeated enemies. The most interesting.
He went and captured the flag just as we were like blowing up an enemy behind him. So he was like, doing Space Rangers and explosions in the background. It was perfect.
Yeah. That's true. That's probably all there's to say about that. I will talk a bit. I mean, normally I don't want to go into the mechanics too much, but this is the first time I've run this new system that I made. So we kind of treated it like a play test, and it went pretty well. I did encounter one error that I made in the balancing that I had to correct immediately, or it would have broken everything. But whatever, I corrected that, and I'll think about it.
Sent out a patch.
Yeah, I did an emergency patch, but
Turnaround's like 5 minutes, huh?
Yeah.
well, it just involved a Sharpie.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Anyway, I don't want to go into all the details, but basically, it's inspired by Space Alert, but it's kind of sliced the other way. So instead of laying out all your actions in 10 minutes, you just have 30 seconds to pick one action. And the enemies have speeds, and the lower their speed number, that's when I actually reveal what they do. And I'm not, as a GM, most of it's deterministic. I just choose, is this guy going to move or attack? And I have to pre-decide that for everyone before the round starts. I start the timer, and I have the cards ready, and I say attack, 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 and the card will determine, it has like X, Y, or Z, and the color of the zone it's going to attack, and that I don't choose, it's just random. And they have to cope with that. And so slow enemies, I reveal it right at 30 seconds. Most enemies it's 20 or 25. Fast enemies it's like 15, and then you could have more extreme enemies, but those would be super extreme to reveal it like 10 or something, right?
Yeah.
And so then you've got to try to cope with where they're going to be and do it. And the goal is, like Space Alert, for it to be, you need to make some tactical choices, and you have almost enough time to make perfect choices, right? You just don't quite have enough time. And then the nice thing is, after that intense 30 seconds, then everything, how the round plays out, what's going to happen is completely deterministic, which is actually great for role-playing because I'm going to kill this guy, so I can just say, I kill this guy, I shoot him off the wall, I blow it up and there's an explosion behind Flint Daniels and da-da-da, and you can just completely describe it however you want as long as it fits what's going to happen because that's completely decided by them.
That guy shoots me, but I deflected in the other guy, he dies.
Yeah, exactly, and you can just say stuff like that because, yeah, so it's pretty, and that was what I was going for, and it seems to be working pretty well. There was some feedback from it, but mostly it was like, nothing that was like the thing itself seemed to be pretty sound. It's just we could improve this.
Most of the issues involved like the fonts on the cards. Printing out the cards, it was hard to read some of the numbering and stuff.
Yeah, it was hard for us to get as close to everything, for everyone to get as close as I had hoped, just because there's just so many of us. Yeah. And so as a result, like Brian in particular was far away, so it was hard for him to read. So I'm going to increase some of the font sizes. And there's a few little things.
Well, everyone had issues with the font
but
size.
if you're awkwardly piloting a mech, it makes sense. You can't interact very well.
Yeah.
The players have.
Like
Space Alert players have limited cards in their hand. They're drawing them, and that gives them their opportunities. And like one thing that came up was like one person just drew nothing but like the weird weird special cards that are like the 10% of the deck. And so then we came up with a rule of like, this was a suggestion that a bunch of people were suggesting. I don't remember who came up with the final
Tim
version
was
that
the
was.
one that initially suggested. This is
Yeah.
the combine multiple cards and
Yeah.
trade them
Anyway,
for
it ended
stuff.
up with like if you have
Yeah.
two identical cards, you can discard them and draw a new one, and that's like a rule that came out
Like
from our
kind of a wild
testing.
card, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's sort of, well, you just throw it and get a new one because
Yeah.
then you can. If you draw
Yeah.
a bunch of crap, you
If
can
you've
at least
got
trade in
nothing
two for
but-
one that might be good.
If you've got nothing but reload and switch weapons,
Right.
That's all.
constantly
That's all.
reloading and switching weapons, it's pointless.
So, yeah. Anyway, and there's a few other things, but mostly stuff like that, like little details that will improve it.
Yeah.
But so far it seemed to work pretty good. So,
Yeah.
so anyway, after the flashback, we did the actual fight with the Simulians on the lizard rider thing.
I can't remember. Did Lieutenant Dr. Yoon actually fire her rocket? I think she did fire her rocket launcher
In the real combat.
in the real combat.
Yes, but she.
And then she immediately was like, she only has 2 rockets left. She decided to switch to her backup weapon, which is a heavy laser cannon. So now she's heavy weapons guy.
Remind me what the Basemu look like.
Let me get a picture.
You have super tall heads, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
During
with a
the,
target painted.
That's right.
I can't
So they're
not
humanoids
see that.
with like
Yeah, they've got
giant
these really
coat
tall
heads.
heads, and they've got this sort of
And both
Mark
the attackers
painted there
and the
that-
defenders.
Both
Yeah.
of them are that. The
Yeah.
attackers have better armor on, but they're clearly the same.
And they're riding
species.
giant frog beasts.
Have really
I-
tall helmets.
I would describe them almost more like dinosaurs, but I'll show you a picture of
Yeah.
the beast too. And for anyone listening to Telltale, it'll probably be the video picture, so they don't need to see it.
We can yuck it up though. Like, oh my god, they're so hideous.
a little later on in the
So
session.
these are like the.
Yeah, I remember that picture. Yeah. Basemu.
Aim there.
The Basemu.
And I had a picture of the warrior
Maybe
guy.
that's actually a distraction.
It's just-
That's a non-vital organ.
Right.
That's just
That's the guy that's attacking.
Yeah.
Those are the guys who are attacking, have like that kind of stuff on.
Turns out they're like camels. That's just fat up there.
or maybe that's just like their tongue.
It's like Homer Simpson.
Anyway,
And these are the mounts.
Oh yeah, okay.
Oh, that's
I
cool.
think you did show that last
yeah.
time.
So yeah, I sort of get the sense of frogginess from the way their legs
Oh,
are.
I did the same thing where I somehow selected something. You want to see it where it's not all dark?
You took it while you were looking at it.
Yeah, so the combat of it, so the way it worked was everything is like.
There's like a bunch of zones laid out.
Yeah, it's not like a combat grid. It's so everything is just zones, and the zones can be variable size as long as they're kind of the same size for a combat. So in this combat, the zones are like quite large. Like the zones were like the areas where there were hovels. There was the area where there was the feast. There was the area where there was like a nice home, and there was open field.
And then there was an area that was debris.
Yeah.
And everyone was like, why is like half the town debris?
Well, they were complaining that the debris was next to the nice houses, but whatever.
Yeah.
So.
Well, the other Basemus came by and wrecked them.
Yeah, the debris used to be the nitro houses.
Maybe
So-
the Basemu just have that aesthetic sense. They like debris.
They like their ruins.
Yeah.
The riders come in, and what I had was the mounts and the riders. So the enemies are on cards, just like Space Lord, so they have their cards. And the mounts and the riders are separate, but the riders are on the mounts, so they move with the mounts, which it gives them the advantage that like things can only either move or shoot. But what I was doing was the mount moves, rider shoots. So they kind of get to move and shoot as long as they're on their mount. And so they're coming charging in, and they've got their tech bows. And I was completely imagining if you've ever played Turok Dinosaur Hunter and the tech bow, I completely unashamedly am exactly ripping that off. The like blue glowing basic arrows and like the red glowing exploding arrows, those are their 2 attacks. So they're doing them, and the way it works is they kind of have 2 actions. They have like their weaker attack and their more powerful attack, and without going into the exact details, basically the first time they would do their powerful attack, they still do their weak attack. So there's kind of like a build up. So like you can kind of see certain enemies are more scary because they've already had their like freebie weak swapped in for strong, and some enemies that they can't do their strong attack yet. They have to get their one. So, but whether they do weak or strong is a 50-50 chance, basically.
So is that narratively like their bow seems to be charging or something?
Yeah. I mean the story narrative reason can be whatever, but that's how all the enemies work. That's just like that's part of the mechanic is they always have That's just every enemy
No,
has
so it
that.
doesn't matter which kind. It's not the specific one.
Yeah, every enemy has that, and it's mainly to add a little bit of complexity to the combat without adding too much. Because originally I was like, oh, they'll have an XYZ just like the Space Sword threats, but that's just one of the things, whenever you're designing a thing, you start with something and you kind of have to simplify it down, and this is the mechanic that I think it's kind of confusing to explain, but I think it very naturally. It's very easy to understand. So, anyway, so they have an explosive attack, which is their powerful one that attacks everyone in the same zone, and then they have just their normal attack that attacks a single enemy. And they're going along. They're coming in, and their mounts can only attack in the same zone because they just have like a bite attack or physical attack, but it's quite strong, so you don't want the mount to get you. So the mounts come running up, and enemies come running forward, and everyone leaves. Everyone's except for Chumley, who was out there kind of like checking out to see if anyone was about. Is at the feast.
Chumley again?
Chumley's the security officer. Which
played by
Robin, which we need to talk about, but let's talk about it after the combat.
Right.
He's like the English lord.
Right.
So we'll talk about character development with him later. That actually happened first, but that doesn't matter. So he comes running forward, and his main weapon is a laser rifle. So it's like sniper kind of gun, and he starts shooting. And one of the beasts comes in and tramples a child, and he's very upset by that. Snipes the guy off of his mount, and then immediately jumps on his mount and tries to start taming it, which I did not foresee at all, but I should have, since he has his horse in cryostasis and is obsessed with horses, and in particular, he one of the things that he does as a hobby, and this is not just some random thing Rob made up, but this is like actually a legit thing that people did, was he likes to tame wild horses and like tame stallions that are hard to tame and like ride them, and that's like a way guys show off who can ride these hard stallions, and so he's like, I'm gonna ride this alien mount. So he succeeds in riding the alien mount, and so for the rest of the combat, he's on the alien mount, riding around, which actually did not work out well for him, only because of like playing this is a way that the mechanics can play out to role-playing again, where what happened was then Robin proceeded to draw nothing but crappy action cards for the entire rest of the combat and was unable to do anything. But in role-playing, it was just, he was spent the whole time trying to control that mount and wasn't able to do anything. But it was just unfortunate bad luck on her part.
So yeah, as mentioned, Lieutenant Dr. Yoon fired off a rocket and then switched to the heavy laser cannon and was just firing.
Hit point and status tracking.
It's similar to Space Alert, where there's a shield level.
Everyone has a personal shield.
Well, the enemies have a shield that is always, it doesn't like deplete.
It's damage reduction, whereas the heroes have shields that are like hit points. And I wanted to give the sense that you're not like some big tough guy. So if you get shot, you're going to go down. But so then the solution to that is to have shields. So you have energy shields. And when you get hit, your shields deplete. And if you take any damage past your shields, you lose a health point. Doesn't matter how much, just any. And you have 2.
Right.
So you lose 2, you're down. So you get hit through your shields twice and you're down, except for the security officer gets 3 hits instead.
Because he's tough.
Yeah.
No, because he's British. They have a win.
True.
That came up. So everyone also wanted to leave the feast because that's where they started, and the feast had the best cover bonus. But I said every point of damage that the cover from the feast saves you from, one of the Basemuians dies. That's like they're getting shot instead of you. So most people tried to leave the feast because they didn't want to take cover behind them. And Flint Daniels quickly left the feast, and he kind of immediately went to a red cover zone. The zones have a red, white, or blue, and that just affects. That's the random cards the enemies get drawn, a red, white, or blue, so that affects where they shoot. And he went to a red zone, and then immediately, by fluke, all the enemies attacked red. And they all focus fired on red, and I think it must have been the second round because by then they had some of them had their explosive things, and they all completely focus fired on Flint Daniels, and they took out all his shields and took off one of his hits, so he's injured.
Right.
And I don't know exactly how it came to be, but subsequently he was not able to recharge his shields or move, and he got shot again.
Whoa.
And he went down. So he went down right away.
Right.
First thing, which is kind of satisfying since Tim played Croesus the whole last campaign, who was impossible to kill. But it's appropriate that he went down first.
Take that, Tim.
No.
And even in the previous game, he was very tough.
Yeah, he's played the tank the last 2 campaigns, so
Hill's strategy, such as it was run towards the enemy firing a shotgun. I did hit the enemy a few times, I think. I also hit our allies a few times.
yes, first he shot Chumley,
Yeah.
who reacted with decency but annoyance. Like,
Yeah.
Bill, you just shot me. Something like that.
And I was like, yes, I did.
Yeah, don't do that. And then he shot. Wait, did you shoot Flint Daniels?
I don't think I shot.
No, you shot.
I think I would never hurt the end of it.
You shot Dr. Yoon.
Yeah, I shot Dr. Yoon. I would
So he
never.
was just going on shooting, and every time he also shot aliens.
Yeah. So I was being effective.
But the pulse shotgun, it does an area attack, so it hits everyone in the zone.
Yeah.
And so he was just going around shooting, and
And I was like, I could switch to my plasma grenades if you prefer. But yeah.
so yeah. What else memorable happened during the battle? Mostly, I probably described most of it.
Yeah.
They did eventually, eliminate all the mounts and all the riders,
Except the one Chumley had.
except Chumley's mount, which they're talking about how they can bring it back.
Yeah. What did Chumley name it? Chickadee or something? Named it. Oh,
Lily? No.
it was Daisy.
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 Yeah,
Yes.
because he didn't know if it was male or female, and that's
Right.
why they needed.
Because Shannon was out of the room at the moment.
because they needed Dr. Yoon to sex the beast.
Right. And so we just kept talking about sexing this thing. And finally Shannon comes back into the room and we're like, finally Shannon, you're here. We have sexing problems. We need you to sex this thing for us. Could you sex this beast?
You think it would
She
stop?
looked horrified at you all.
And it turned out that Daisy is male. But the name had already stuck, so we're
Right.
going with Daisy.
Well, I mean, and Chumley's first name is Evelyn, and he's male, so it fits.
Yeah. Must be a British thing. So, the dust settled.
Who else? Sorry, there's Yoon, Chumley, Hill, and
Sabine.
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 There was nothing like
I don't
super
recall-
memorable. I
Yeah.
remember Sabine focused on taking out the mounts, and basically systematically took out all the mounts.
Yeah.
What was Sabine's weapon?
I don't remember. So
Probably something boring like a laser gun, which is what they made me use afterwards.
yeah, so
They
after the
took my
combat,
shotgun away.
Chumley came over and was like, Lieutenant Pill, I have these pistols. I mostly use my sniper rifle. These are my backup. I'm gonna give you these, and you're gonna give me the sniper rifle. And he was like,
Yeah, I kind of liked the shotgun because it worked quite well.
he was like, I don't think I want to give it to you unless it would be suspicious not to. It would be suspicious not to.
I was
Okay.
like, okay.
So they made so he made them swap weapons with him. Took away his shotgun, and then you were like, oh well, I guess I'll switch to the plasma grenades. And Flint Daniels, who was conscious by that time this conversation happened, was like, no, that would be suspicious also. Yes, Flint Daniels regained consciousness in the arms of a beautiful alien female who was ministering to him. And he got shot in the torso, so he had to have his shirt off and be all bandaged around the chest. And receive ministrations from the nice alien nurses.
Yep.
And they offered him this like medicine, but Yoon did a medical check on it and discovered that while their intentions were good, the metabolism or their systems are different and it would actually be harmful to take. So they thanked them but didn't take it. And the aliens were quite thankful. They ended up spending the night there while Flint healed up. And Yoon, using modern medicine, was able to heal him, but he still needs the bandaging. He's like lost the effect, but he still needs the bandaging for a while.
What was Sabina's role again?
Engineer.
Oh,
Which-
right.
And we landed perfectly with no damage, so.
Right, she's the kooky engineer.
Yeah. So her vital role hasn't been as quite vital in this particular adventure, but I'm sure we'll be very
There's lots
happy
of
to
stuff
have her.
for each thing to do. It's just everyone kind of has like a special thing, and then there's just of course their skill. But during the evening, Flint spent more time learning the language so he could talk
with like the village elder and stuff.
Yeah, he can
So you
talk in
can
broken
seduce, I
language.
mean, diplomacize.
Yeah.
We got to find out what's up with these riders.
Mhm.
They're using advanced technology.
Yeah.
This is a Bronze Age civilization. Something is up.
Last time they did detect energy signatures coming from inside the city.
So we talked with the village elder about this a bit, and he basically says, yeah, the people in the city, they do that. They come out and raid the outlying villages.
Yeah, the guys. One of their special arrows had nets that like explode out into like
Yeah.
energy. So they have netting.
They're
things.
like slavers or something.
Just to remind you, the aliens always talk like this. The city raids often. They come to take them for the gods.
I really want to kill them all. It's starting to get a little annoying. Breathy.
It's like what's his tits from Malcolm in the Middle.
Oh, I
never watched it.
guy.
Steve.
So yeah, it says they do that a lot, and says that they get their super weapons from the gods, and so
It seems people ask like, when did the gods come? Seems like they've been there for generations. There's legends
Yeah.
of the time before the gods, but they don't even know if they're true. So like, as far as these guys know, the city built by the gods has been around for generations. They don't and
So we decide we got to sneak into the city to explore, find out what's up with these guys. Where are these gods from? What are their intentions, and so forth.
There was some talk about disguising themselves as the hunting party returning, but the concern is the alien big heads. They look too different.
Hill thought they looked practically identical to humans. So there's like, yeah, what's the big deal? You're basically identical. They'll be perfect disguise.
Yeah.
Trust me, I'm an expert at disguising as an alien, and yeah, I didn't actually say that, but basically, yeah. And they were like, no, Pill, stop it.
They did some reconnoitering around, and Chumley discovered that the defenses of the city, like the actual practical guarding of the city, is almost non-existent because the city, despite the fact that it's like Bronze Age level technology and the walls are like using Bronze Age technology, it's 6 stories tall, like way taller than any Bronze Age people could ever build a wall, and way taller than the guys in the wretched hovels could ever get over. So they have like the wall is like the city's like the size of Mill Woods, and they have like 4 guards walking the wall, like almost nothing, just kind of like it was super easy to get past them because there's no way that those other guys are ever going to get over the wall. And Sabine did also did some reconnoitering and trying to. Also, they were looking for inlets, like, how does the water get in? How does the water get out? And they discovered there are absolutely none except for the gates that are heavily guarded where the hunting parties come out. There is no water going in. There is no water going out. It's completely sealed off.
Tide goes in, tide goes out. Can't explain it.
And Sabine discovered that the energy signatures are all localized in the center of the city. They're just like in one place. It's not spread out throughout. It's just there's one place where there's advanced energy signatures.
So we go there and figure out everything. But that'll be for next session because we ended on the plan to climb the walls. Also, we figured we'd plan ahead for our escape. And the plan was to blow a hole in the wall, if I remember correctly.
Yes.
You do have a rocket launcher.
No, the thing is, it would require a bunch of ammo from our weapons.
Ah.
And so they were all like, Pill, you have a bunch of plasma grenades. Let's take them from you. And before we go into the city, and leave them outside the city against the wall. And Pill was like, okay.
And
I did get to keep one, so I still have one precious plasma grenade.
Flint Daniels convinced some of the warriors of the tribe to come with them, not as like cannon fodder, but just because he thought that like that's the kind of thing that brave guys should do. Let's strike back. And he inducted them as honorary space rangers. He had honorary space ranger badges ready, and inducted them as honorary space rangers. And partly it's because they were like they kept asking if the party was were gods, and they're like, no, we're just another sapient race, and all sapient races are equal, and we'll all get along. That's like Flint Daniels' thing, right?
Yeah.
And so that's why part of the reason he inducted them, because like now we're equals, we're all space rangers, and then a bunch of the bravest warriors are going to come along on the expedition into the city.
So it's Che Daniels.
What?
He's starting a
Oh,
communist
shame.
revolution.
But I'd say that's where we
So
left
there
it.
were some developments with Chumley that
Oh,
we
yeah.
walked over.
Yeah, so last time Chumley came off on the wrong foot, and that was mostly due to just, I mean, when you're role playing, A, we're not professional actors, and B, you know, there's circumstances. So we actually we did two things. He role played a little bit, but also we actually just paused it out of character, like, okay, everyone took it this way, but if you were really there and you were really seeing it, and it wasn't me just trying to act it when I'm overtired, this is how you would have taken it. Because everyone took him to be like
A colossal misogynist.
yeah, because he's like an English lord, and this hasn't really been revealed in character, but she revealed a few details that he's like actually from the 1800s.
Okay.
And so he has 1800s sensibilities, and so he has the sense that like it's his job to make sure that if there's women around, they should be protected.
Right.
And so he was concerned about women coming on the mission because he's like, we should be protecting them, not endangering them.
Right.
But it came off as like, what are women doing here? And so
In standard English lord fashion.
So that I mean,
Old chap.
it just changes the tenor of
Yeah.
it, right? And it's still kind of
Yeah.
quaint and antiquated, but it's a different tenor.
Yeah.
And so we just kind of reset that and like, this is how you should have taken it.
Right.
And then also he did a little bit of role playing and dropped a few hints about not being used to this time.
Right.
In some of the role playing elements. So he's like, you know, he's been in this time for a couple years. He's learned a few things. There was a part where he was going to do his standard handshake, but instead he did the like it was Sabine, I think. Or was it? No, it was Lieutenant Dr. Yu. He took off his white riding glove and gave her this awkward high five because that's like what people do. They give high fives. So, right. But he still took off his glove because, of course, when you normally, you know, you take off your glove and kiss the woman's hand, but instead he took off his glove and gave her a high five.
So he's only pleasantly misogynist.
Yes.
It's acceptable.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
the acceptableness is a matter of debate,
Yeah.
but there's still like it's a totally
intentions-
different thing.
Yeah.
His intentions
Yeah.
are
His-
good.
His thought is not that, oh, women are incompetent. It's that women are fragile flowers and should be protected. That sort of thing.
And
Which,
he's-
you know,
Not
and also,
incompetent, they're just incapable of looking at
and he's a man of his time,
Yeah.
right? It's not like it's quite different, you know. Like
Yeah.
you know, people are people of their time. So
Unfortunately, Pill doesn't notice any of these subtleties at all. So, yeah. Pill has no idea that Chumley is acting unusual or anything. He's not even really
Some
clear on...
humans do that.
Yeah. Originally, I was going to have with Pill, one of his quirks was going to be that he always gets gender pronouns wrong. But, like, half the players at the table are playing reversed characters from themselves anyway, so it would kind of, I'd just be like, oh, Brian's
that's
not using their,
that's a
it's
mistake people make all the time. Although
Yeah.
I did notice you made that mistake legitimately and then just ran with it. So
Yeah.
that's a good way to do it.
Yeah. So now it's a way I can cover up those mistakes I make. But it's just not, something I'll do
You could
intentionally.
just be consistently wrong. You just insist that they're the opposite gender.
Well, no, I wouldn't insist because, if someone says otherwise, I'll go with that. I need to deflect suspicion. And Lieutenant Dr. Yoon, despite orders to go play along and not blow my cover, keeps looking for opportunities.
It's like she's trolling him,
Yeah,
really.
yeah.
Like, it's not exactly blowing the cover as much as just, trying to... I guess
Yeah,
it is, but...
making me exercise my acting chops to try and keep the deception alive.
She's trolling him.
Yeah, they were all talking about where they were from, and so I announced, I am from Canada. And so they've been asking me stuff about Canada and stuff like that.
Chumley asked, Upper Canada?
And then I agreed, of course, because I had no idea. But okay, now I know Upper Canada's a thing. So yes, I'm from Upper Canada, which I take to mean is like floor 5 and above or something. I don't know. I'll have to figure that out later. And then whenever I like take a hit, I haven't been injured yet, but when I take a hit, I loudly declare, I've been hit, but not so badly as to require medical attention. And Lieutenant Dr. Yoon at one point was talking about like taking a blood sample from me for some reason she was trying to make up or something, and so I had to.
No worries. I have one for you.
No. I told her no. I am a Jehovah's Witness. And so yeah, that's my thing to. That's my get out of medicine free card. Is I'm a Jehovah's Witness.
Heard about it somewhere.
From Upper Canada.
Get out of medicine free.
Yeah.
What happens if he gets injured?
I will.
Is it a cyborg or is it a robot?
It's a robot that's being piloted by a small octopus.
Right. So like, if it gets its arm blown off.
I guess I guess it'll depend on when you get injured in combat, by default the player just gets to pick the injury unless the GM wants to say no, this is the injury. Either way, you could basically pick, right? Did the cyborg get damaged or did the actual octopus inside get hurt? In which case you actually would need medical attention. But if the cyborg gets damaged, I guess I didn't have a plan for this, but it'll just be you do the same kind of medical check, but it'll have to be an engineering check instead.
It seems like that would become very obvious. The cyborg's arm gets blown off, and he gets up and says, "Uh-oh."
So far,
he's incompetent at knowing that that's obvious. So.
Pill has been finding these people to be incredibly gullible. He's doing it, and he's like nailed it every time. He's like, nailed it, Pill. They totally don't suspect. So yeah, we'll just it'll be a contest to see whose gullibility is greater.
You could always just tell them that you have an artificial arm.
I could at that.
You had a shoulder replacement. It's a common surgery.
Yes,
and
I hadn't planned to plan. I'll just make up whatever.
Upper Canadians have suffered some like radiation damage, and so their stunted arms have hurt.
It's a genetic defect.
You guys are way overthinking this.
It is the future, so it is actually the kind of setting where you probably could science someone's arm back on. I mean, we were talking before about like. There's stuff you can do during the mission, but it's hard. And then there's like when you go back, all your problems are gonna be solved. Like we were talking about one thing, you could like lose an eye.
Yeah.
You're gonna have no eye for the mission, but when you get back, you'll just get a new eye.
Yeah, he's sitting in the auto dock or whatever.
Yeah.
So you could lose an arm for the whole mission if you wanted to.
And I'll just have to,
everything was
make up reasons for why I don't have this arm right now.
Be slowly developing.
Yeah, it's all right. I don't have an arm. It's
Upper Canadian.
Yeah, or something. I'll come up with
Upper
something.
Canada has arms.
I'm not
It's a strange place.
I'm not a compulsive liar. I'm not trying to make up stuff.
I don't think anyone's gonna.
Yeah.
I love the synergy of that Upper Canada thing though, because that's just like a funny little quirk of Chumley, thinking from the time he's from there was Upper Canada, and now it's like, I'm from Upper Canada.
I'm from Upper Canada.
That's it melds with his incompetence and.
I bet that Chum was not when you asked that. That just makes me better.
Yeah, that's why. Yeah, and I think and then later he was like thinking to himself, oh wait, that's not a thing anymore. But it was too late because he's already gone.
Yep.
Oh no, actually no, maybe he didn't because he doesn't know. Probably hasn't researched Canada. So
that's the reason I chose Canada as the location for Phil, because everyone else is from like U.S. or places like that. So.
Anfale is from Belgium.
Flint Daniels from like Nebraska or something, or
I don't know if he said where he's from. He's probably from the States.
Yeah.
Alaska.
But the Space Academy's in the States in the what's the name of the crater?
Bullseye Crater.
Bullseye Crater.
It's in Colorado. Bullseye City is in the center of Bullseye Crater in Colorado.
I thought the crater was named after. I thought the crater was named after the mountain.
It is in the same location as where Cheyenne Mountain used to be, but it's just called Bullseye Crater.
Okay.
Unspecified.
Yeah.
But it didn't cause an extinction event, so I was like, I don't know if I can, because I just opened it to the Slack channel, like, hey, where should we be? I wanted to kind of be in the States, and then that was the suggestion.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I feel like something that would blow up Cheyenne Mountain would be an extinction event. And they're like, science could cause it. And I'm like, okay, science caused it.
Yeah. It's not that big about.
Or it's like, oh, there's a meteor coming. We can't stop it, but we can build a force field around its impact.
People
channel the blast into space.
Yeah. People overestimate how extinction-y some of these extinction level events are, and B, it could have been like 100 years ago. Bullseye Crater is full of pine trees now or something.
I could have sworn
Happens to look.
I
Happens to
thought in
look
the Slack
like.
you called it Cheyenne Crater, and I like that name better. I love the idea of calling it Cheyenne Crater instead of Cheyenne Mountain.
Okay, sure.
And Bullseye City.
Bullseye City in the center of Cheyenne
Either
Crater.
I misunderstood you, or you're remembering wrong. But either way, I still like my version better.
Sure. But I thought we were co-GMing. Nah, that's all right. I like Cheyenne Crater just fine. As long as there's Bullseye something there, because
Bullseye City and Cheyenne
Bullseye
Crater.
City in the middle of Cheyenne Crater. Yeah. Pills, private log, encryption key 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, it appears that these aliens may not be hiders after all. They may be the victims of destroyers. Either way, I approve of this plan that these humans have to go in there and investigate. Better them than me. However, I don't entirely approve of how they've taken away my shotgun. That was a very effective weapon.
Lieutenant Chumley, security officer's log. Well, I took away that mutton-headed alien's shotgun. He shot me. He shot our engineer. Oh my goodness, I can't believe he shot a woman. What an idiot. And I found myself a mount. I named her Daisy. Not actually sure if it's a female, but she kind of looks like a female. So I named her Daisy. She's a nice, bright filly, but she's a little low in the front. I'm not sure. Anyway, Pill says I can take her home with us. The other ones say no, I can't. Uh-oh, she's knocked something over. I gotta go.
Lieutenant Chumley, I think that girl horse is not a girl horse.
Oh, damn.
Or alien mount thing.
It's a stallion? Tell me it's not a gelding.
It's a stallion.
Excellent. Daisy. Well, I called him Daisy. That's gonna stick.
Right. Medical officer's log 2. All the previous stuff mentioned.
Engineering officer's personal log. Lieutenant Pill shot me. And Chumley over there too. I'm not sure if I should chalk this up to malice or incompetence, but I'm keeping my eye on that guy. Flint Daniels got taken down, but he seems fine now. Yeah, what a fine mess we've got ourselves into. Well, let's press forward then.
Personal log, Flint Daniels, Space Ranger. After a dastardly attack by the slavers of the evil city, I am pleased to report that the Basemo have in a historic moment been inducted as honorary Space Rangers. Tonight, their bravest braves will join us in storming the walls of the Forbidden City to wrest control from the false gods within. Adventure awaits.
Medic's log 2, edition. After bandaging Flint Daniels' chest, I think he waxes it.